Salvete. You can say hello.
Hi. Happy birthday, Marco.
Happy
birthday.
Yes, your brother thinks
It's Martha's birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, let's go. Salve. So we're going to learn about, this is the notes/homework, and we are learning about reflexive and intensive pronouns. You use these all the time in English. You don't think about them. Now it's time to learn what they actually are. The top part, as I just told the class here, is review. You're just writing things that we learned in the past chapter about pronouns. So and I just did a few for you. What are intensive and reflexive pronouns? These are selves pronouns in English. It highlights where my cursor is, I think. It's this new feature. I find it kind of distracting. Intensive pronouns are unnecessary. You can just fill in the blank for now to the meaning of the sentence. Example. My son William brings me a picture of a ghost that he's drawn. And I say to him, William, did you draw that yourself? I could just say, William, did you draw that? But then I would not be a very nice parent. Instead, I say, William, did you draw that yourself? It's really just acting like an exclamation point. That's called an intensive pronoun. It's called intensive because, what's the word intensive mean? It's intensifying. You can write all that down or just listen to it. It adds intensity to it adds some punch. That's all it does. Now, the Latin word that does that is ipse. And if you paid attention in the previous chapters, this will now make sense. We're going to decline ipse, and it's going to be a regular pronoun. What's the genitive going to be? Nope. 3 letters. Ipsius. You can put an arrow across, but it's all the same. Ipsius, ipsius, ipsius. What's the dative going to be? Ipsi. Do we remember why?
Because it's pronoun.
It's a pronoun. I said all the pronouns would do this. The rest are regular. So, ipsum, ipso, right? S-E-O-M-O. Feminine, ipsum, ipsa, right? Totally regular. Neuter, ipsum, ipso, totally regular. In fact, everything is totally regular here. You're just adding the ending that makes sense. So what if it were feminine, plural, accusative? 10 seconds. Predict what form you would use. Feminine, plural, accusative. This one here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Spartica. A chain.
Sauce.
Predict the ablative plural for any gender. Ablative plural. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Augustus. Ipsis like that. Predict the neuter plural nominative. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Neuter plural nominative would be Maximus ipsa. And the genitives would just be ipsorum, ipsarum, ipsorum. Datives, ipsis. People see the patterns? You could write them all out if you felt obligated or if I asked you for it on a test, but really, you're just using your same old endings. Let us stop there for a second. Do you see where those endings are coming from? Straight out of 6th grade. That's if I'm saying, William, did you draw that yourself? Wow, good job. It's just intensifying. But there's actually another type of self pronoun in English. Reflexive.
What is the equal?
Oh, good point. Thanks, Maximus. What do these mean in English? Any self word. So it could. Here, I'm gonna go underneath because I can't fit them all in one box. But in the singular, it'd be myself. If it's second person, I'd say, William, did you do that yourself? If I were talking about William to someone else, I'd say, hey, look, William drew this himself, or Genevieve drew this herself, or the dog drank the water itself. So you just change the gender or the person to match. In the plural, it's simpler in English. They did it themselves. You did it yourselves. We did it ourselves. First, second, third person. Write it down, but then look at it and say to yourself, oh, I use these words all the time. I'm just writing down singular and plural forms. That's the intensive pronoun. If it's not necessary, it's just intensive. Reflexive pronouns, can you guess if intensive are unnecessary? Reflexive are probably necessary. Bene tolia. They reflect back. See the word reflect? If you don't see it, you might want to put it bold, underline it. They reflect back to the subject. Usually, if you think of 6th grade when we did subject, action, verb, and the thing that receives the action is called the direct object. I didn't mention this, but sometimes in English and Latin, the action gets received by the subject, which seems counterintuitive, but you do it all the time. Suppose I looked in a mirror, and I said, I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm not looking at Portia. I'm actually literally reflecting, looking at myself. So let's do that as our example. I saw myself in the mirror. What's the reflexive pronoun? This thing here, myself, is the direct object of the sentence. The action's being received by myself. It reflects back to the subject. There's no other thing receiving the action. It's actually coming right back to me. Decline the Latin reflexive pronouns. Maybe I should do a couple more examples. Nah, it's okay. We'll do examples in the back. This is some really good news. The Latin reflexive pronouns are the same as the personal pronouns. So if you want to say myself, I saw myself in the mirror. Ego, mei, mihi, me, me. Can anyone guess what tu does? Tui, tibi. Te, te. It would mean yourself. Do you see anything surprising so far?
No.
What would nos do? Nos.
Nobody's.
Anything strange there?
No.
Nope. What would it mean? We saw ourselves. Vos, vestrum, vobis, vos, vobis. You all saw yourselves. So right now you should be looking at this and feeling hopefully like, okay, this is exactly like the other pronouns. There's one exception. The third person is that thing you were studying on your vocab. When you want to say himself, so I guess we could put that in English, himself, or if it's feminine, herself, itself. I'll just put ... Or in the plural, themselves, so they saw themselves in the mirror. It sounds exactly like me, mihi, me, and tui, tibi, te, te. It's just third person. So you put an S on it, and it becomes sui, sibi, se, se. And that means himself or herself. And then if you want it to be plural, wait for it. You're going to like this.
Suas.
It's exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
Akue.
How do you know? We get to if it's themselves or himself.
Because it always refers back to the subject, by definition, the sentence has to have it right there next to it.
That makes sense, yeah.
So there's no reason that it really causes trouble. All right, so those are reflexive pronouns. If you said he saw himself, actually, let's flip over and just do examples and cut down your homework. Let's skip the top where it says reflexive adjective for now.
Wait, like just crossed out.
No, don't cross it out. It's important. I just wanted to do examples first. Good try, Augustus. I made this into a Google Doc and it lost the numbers that are on your page. So I'm going to try to add them as I go.